found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history.
Welcome to Elevating Lives. My name is Charles Evdos. I'm Executive Director of Rise Life Services. The goal of our show is really to educate, help individuals with special needs, developmental disabilities, autism, whatever the category may be, we're here to help. Rise started back in 1984 as aid to the developmentally disabled. We currently have 32 sites throughout Suffolk County. We have two food pantries, one in the Hampton Bays, one in Riverhead, and we have a No Walls program, which is an adult program located also in Riverhead. We are going to expand our services into the Huntington area. The goal is to open up by January 1st. It will feature basically another adult day program, basically a cultural center, which covers pretty much dance, music, whatever the category is in the arts, to help individuals with special needs, developmental disabilities, and we're here to help in the community. Today I have Darryl Johnson, who's my intake and director of admissions. We also have JoAnn Vitale, who's our director of the No Walls program, our adult program, and our two food pantries. Darryl, tell us a little bit about what you do at Rise and some of the things that you have noticed that's happening in New York State over the years.
Well, thank you, Charles. Again, my name is Darryl Johnson. I've been with Rise Life Services for 15 plus years, starting with aid to the developmentally disabled, now elevating our name to Rise Life Services. Again, admissions intake director that is really supporting our programs with the admission and discharges of our individuals. We have over 174 residential beds servicing individuals with mental illness in our mental health program, and also individuals in our OPWD, also people with developmental disabilities in our IRA and ICF residential sites. Again, I've been here 15 plus years. I've seen the agency grow. Some of the changes that we've made has provided the agency and myself opportunities. I also work with our staff retention. I also work with developing new programs and new initiatives and business ventures. Again, you've mentioned our PWW program, which is in Riverhead, and our expansion into the Huntington location. Like I said, we also have a mental health clinic that should open up later on this year. One of the challenges I see really with the services, especially on East End Long Island, is really that people aren't aware of what's available to them. We are now developing our own helpline, 1-855-RISE-LIFE, which is going to really connect people to resources. Over the last, again, 15 plus years, I've taken many phone calls from people on the East End Long Island, people in Nassau County, people upstate New York, and people outside of New York State, just really asking questions. For example, I had an older lady call me the other day. She said, my daughter has autism. She's 21 years old. She's graduating school, and I don't know what to do with her. I don't know what's out there, what's available for her. I don't want her sitting home all day. I want her to be connected to the community. I want her to live a healthy and prosperous life. So again, part of our helpline would be connecting that person to additional resources. That could be a day program, that could be a site-based day program, that could be a PWW program, that could be connected to benefits. It might be also connected to doctors in their area. I think for us at Rise, we've been doing that for a long time. Now we're providing this helpline so people have a direct number to call. And again, if it's truly an emergency, we're going to direct you to call 911. We're just really connecting you to services and opportunities to really support your loved ones or yourself. I've had phone calls from people who are incarcerated. I've got letters from people who are incarcerated. Dear Mr. Johnson, I've spoken to a friend of mine that you've helped in the past, and I'm wondering if you could help me. Again, a lot of my conversations start with a person really just telling me their story. There's a lot of stories. People have stories that are meaningful to them. Again, it could be their personal story or a story about somebody else. Along our conversation, I usually get to, so how can I help you? What would you like me to do for you? And that's really when our work begins. After listening to the story, it's really what do they want to see accomplished? How can we help them? It could be my son or daughter is addicted to some kind of substance, illegal substance. How do I get them help? That could be inpatient, that could be outpatient, that could be just have conversation. what else is available to them. And again, I think that's what RISE does the best. We listen, we ask people how can we help them, and then we connect to either our services or services out in the community. Again, we don't have all the answers, we don't have all the resources, no one does. But what RISE does best is we connect people to services that can help them or their loved ones. We give them opportunities and we listen. Like I said, our PWW program really was developed that way. The need was, we heard people say, what do I do? What's out there for my son or daughter, my family member, to really connect to the community? They don't want to be in a site-based program. They don't want to be in a building all day. They want to be more active. They want to enjoy their lives more. So we developed 2 years ago our PWW program. That program now has over 40 people. And again, that's why we're also expanding that program into Huntington. And we're expanding that program further into Riverhead at our Northfield locations, our Sensory Garden. It's a beautiful location overlooking the Sound. Again, we're doing, I think, the right thing across the board, especially for Riverhead, the East End. And again, we're going to expand so that people are able to get services, hopefully from all the way out to Montauk, all the way out to Nassau County for us.
It really sounds like that helpline is going to be beneficial to Long Islanders and probably to people throughout the United States. It sounds like a great vehicle, and I look forward to it getting into operation very shortly.
Yeah, it really is. A lot of people are going to helplines. New York State has their own helpline, especially with the coronavirus. A lot of substance abuse places have their own helpline. And again, we're not a crisis line. We're not providing clinical services. But we're providing help. We're providing supports. We're providing who to connect you to. And again, we're providing a person on the other end of that line who's going to take that phone call. It's not going to be a machine. It's going to be an individual. It's going to be probably myself. But as we grow, it's going to be more people. But we're going to connect you to help. And again, that could be benefits. We do have a benefits specialist on our staff. So how do you get benefits? I'm going to connect them to our benefits specialist. Where's the closest substance abuse treatment? Again, those are the resources that we have. Even though we don't have everything under one roof, our contacts with other agencies, our contacts with hospitals, our contacts with doctors, our contacts with the counties, again, OPWD or OMH, really going to provide us the opportunity and the resources to connect people to the services that they need. And I said, I think that's the first step for people to get help is how do I get it? Who do I contact?
JoAnn, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at RISE, and where can we help the community?
I've been at RISE for 33 years now. I started when the agency only had 7 houses. It was a small agency, and I came there. As the agency grew, there were a lot more opportunities, and like Darryl said, just a few years ago, we decided to branch out from residential services and open up the first day program. And since I've been with the agency for many years in residential services, I had the opportunity to go to a lot of the day programs that are around. And one thing I didn't want was to have the same kind of day program again. So we developed a day program without walls, which was something that's new to treatment services. There are other day programs without walls. That's kind of the new model for day programs. We go out into the community, though, as much as possible. COVID certainly has kind of put a damper on some of our activities. We have to follow OPWDD and Department of Health protocols to keep everyone safe, but we're starting to go back out into the community. Most of the individuals in the day program are now vaccinated, double vaccinated, so that helps us be able to go out. We sit down with the individual. When they come to the day program, I do an intake on the individual, and I sit down with them and their circle of support, their caretaker or their family member, and ask them what it is they really want out of day program services. Do they want to just have a social experience because they're isolated and they don't have many friends? Do they want to continue their academic skills because we're getting a great deal of individuals who are aging out of school between 19 and 21, and they have no place to go once they're finished with school? So do they want to continue with their academic skills? We have a retired BOCES teacher who comes in at least once a week to help with academic skills, to enhance their skills or to maintain their skills. And for some of the individuals who are older and been at day program for a while, they may want to also increase some of their academic skills. The BOCES teacher will come in, her name is Renee. She does kind of like fun activities with the individuals. So it's not like a classroom setting where we'll do kinds of reading, math, and geography games with people to engage them. We also go out into the community and we participate in activities like out here in the Hamptons in the Watermill Center. We do activities with the Watermill Center when they have different artists from around the world come. They'll invite us to come and spend the day with them. The individuals will be able to do movement therapy or some kind of artwork. We've also, you mentioned the Spirit of Huntington Art Institute. We did a 10-week art class for 15 of the individuals in day program recently. So for every Friday for 10 weeks, 15 of the day program individuals went to Huntington, and each week they completed an art project. They learned a little bit about the different artists, Van Gogh, some other artists, and then what they did was they held an art show at our sensory garden at the end of the 10 weeks, and they were able to put their artwork on display, and their family members and friends were able to come and view it, which was a big deal for the individuals to be able to show off the work that they worked so hard on. We do all kinds of things. We go to museums, we go bowling. You mentioned we have a sensory garden. We're looking to expand our day programs building because we have so many individuals that are coming to our day program. Right now, today, we have 45 individuals, and I have someone who's coming for a trial today. So we'll be up to probably 50 individuals come September. People want to go out into the community, and they want to be busy. We go to the beach, we go to parks, we do some community service. They assist with the food pantry.
That very true. And what I'm finding is, unfortunately, people are aging out, like you said. They're hitting that 21-year-old mark. The residential piece is difficult. The day program, the No Walls program, offers that opportunity where a parent can get some freedom and a child or an adult can go into the community, like you said, and really enjoy the activities that we're going to offer at our Huntington site, which is important. I mean, nothing like art, music, the various categories we're going to be having. I think that's going to be a great thing. Thank you, JoAnn, for that. Darryl, tell us a little bit, how is managed care going to affect New York State in the future? I know they keep talking about it. It's in the pipeline to save money. Where do you see it as an admissions intake director?
Well, New York State's always looking to save money. Again, even though they're state, it's still a business, and I think any well-run business tries not to waste money. So they're looking at the agencies like ourselves that are doing a little bit more with what they have. We always as a business don't want to waste money. You want to be able to provide services that people are actually utilizing, specific services. Like I said, not everybody is the same. You can't fit a round ball in a square cup at times, as they say. So what RISE is trying to do is we're trying to put multiple services under one roof that we have. Besides our PWL program, our residential programs, we're also developing a clinic, a behavioral health clinic that we're going to open up later on this year. Food pantry, our connection to doctors. So when managed care comes, they're going to kind of look at, okay, what does RISE offer? What kind of connections does RISE have? What kind of partnerships does RISE have? And again, I think what we're doing better than many other agencies, we're really encompassing our programs across different venues so that it encompasses what individuals need. And I think that's going to help us because, again, managed care wants to limit the dollars spent and they want to spend it wisely. So you have to be able to show that you're providing really services that people need and are utilizing. And that's kind of why they moved away from hospitalizations or hospitals, because hospitals, everyone's kind of getting the same treatment, and that wasn't really being effective or successful. So that's why they moved to more residential sites, which we have 174 beds. Because again, it's keeping people in the community. Hospitals cost more, unfortunately. Every time a person goes to a hospital, again, it's taxpayer dollars. It's costing more to provide them services in a hospital than in the community residents like ones that we provide. And again, you're providing that person individualized services and you're connecting them. So I think RISE moving forward is set up to really benefit multiple different people and different aspects of people's lives. And I think managed care is definitely going to look at what we have and how we're moving forward as a progressive way of treatment, progressive way of doing business. And I unfortunately hate to say that word, business and treatment, in the same word, but it usually it's connected.
Right. I mean, you're absolutely correct. It gets down to cost for New York State. I believe we're about 28 to 40% cheaper doing the same job as New York State does. So we do supply New York State with an option to reduce their costs, no question. So thank you for that, Darryl. JoAnn, tell us a little bit about the food pantries. I'm excited about that. Unfortunately, it's growing, which is not a good thing.
Yeah.
But what do we do? We're helping the community. We're helping lots of people. What are we doing best here?
We're doing food pantry. We have 2 food pantries. We opened one recently in Hampton Bays. The reason why we went to Hampton Bays was that Island Harvest identified Hampton Bays as an area that had need for a food pantry. There was other food pantries there, but we're unlike a lot of the other food pantries where we don't require people to bring identification to come to the food pantry. We're also a client choice food pantry, so we put the food out right now because of COVID. We put everything outside and people can come along and they can choose the food that they want to. Some food pantries will bag food and hand you what they've bagged up for the consumers to take. People come and they know what their families need. So they're able to come and they're able to choose what they need. Do they have small children? Do they have certain things? Or are they senior citizens and maybe have different kind of nutrition needs? So the food pantry in Riverhead, which is open on Wednesdays from 9:30 until 2 o'clock, and the Hampton Bays one, which is located at the United Methodist Church. The pastor there was nice enough to give us a portion of his residence and garage to open up a food pantry there. That's open on Thursdays from 10 o'clock until 1:30. So with COVID, we've seen a gigantic need for people on the East End. We've been given some grant money, which was wonderful, from All for the East End and a few other folks who were kind enough to donate money to us. And what we've been able to do is to also go to some of the local farms and purchase from the local farmers, our community partners, fresh produce that we can provide for people in the food pantry. So we kind of help 2 ways. We're helping our local farmers who need the revenue, and we're giving fresh fruits and vegetables to the people in need who are coming to the pantry.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, our food pantry program does not receive really any funding from the state.
No.
We count on donations, we count on grants to run the program. We're looking to expand it further because there is a tremendous need. I know starvation is up 300, I read a figure it was 300% on Long Island, which is unheard of. Hopefully it'll get back to a lower level very quickly. But our goal is to really help the people on Long Island who need it. We're here to help, and that's a 4-letter word that really counts.
It is, again, that's our helpline. That's part of our helpline. That's part of our day program. That's part of our behavioral clinic. Everything that we're doing moving forward is really developed off of the need of people on, especially Long Island. Like I said, we've taken those phone calls. We've had those face-to-face. We've had people kind of just walk into our building, come to our building, asking questions. So I think over the last 2 to 3 years, we've done a really nice job of taking all that information that we've received from the phone calls, from those face-to-face conversations, and say, okay, what can we do to help people more? So we are more than just residential. I said we were residential 30 years ago. Today, we are, Rise, elevating the lives of people based on what they're telling us they need. And I think that's what we do differently than a lot of other agencies. We take those phone calls. It doesn't make a difference what time it is, or we'll call you back. We take those emails, we take those letters, and we read them. We have an open door policy, even with COVID. We're meeting people outside the building if they can't come in the building. We're meeting them down the road. We're giving them face masks. We're setting up clinics for vaccinations or clinics to get tested. We're really involved in the community. We're not just a business. I think we are the business because we're giving people what they want. No matter, again, sometimes it's not cost effective for us because we're doing it for free. But sometimes you got to look upon financial ends, and I think again that's what we're doing better than a lot of other agencies out there.
Yeah, that's great. There's 3 projects that I'm looking to get the agency to move to, and one of the big ones is creating a 55 and over community for developmentally disabled, special needs, and veterans. It would be basically like a retirement center for those individuals, and that's a big project we're going to be working on, and I'll talk about it in future shows. Ability TV is another area where it's a station, channel, cable, whatever, a podcast that are specifically for special needs, adults that have brain injury, whatever the category may be. It's going to be dedicated to those type of individuals. And we're looking to expand our services to wherever we can help the community. That's really important. JoAnn, tell us a little bit more about the food pantry. That's a sore point for me. And
Well, the food pantry started kind of as an idea a few years ago. We have some individuals who we provide residential services to, and they were looking for things to do. So that was before day programs started. So I was wondering, could we open up a food pantry and employ a few of the individuals? Well, it worked out really well. We started off in a garage in Aquabog, and when we moved into the Riverhead location, it kind of really expanded because we're right in the same parking lot as the Department of Social Services. So many times when someone goes to the Department of Social Services for the first time asking for assistance, it takes sometimes 4 or 5 days before any of their benefits would come into effect. So Social Services says, well, there's a food pantry across the parking lot. And even though we're open on Wednesdays, I'm in the office Monday through Friday, and usually I'm there from early in the morning, 7:30, until 5 in the afternoon. Anytime someone comes and I'm in the office and they come to the door and ask, could they have some food, they tell us they don't have any food for them or their families, we open up the food pantry and we provide them with food. During COVID, we were contacted by the Department of Health and their contact tracing, and they said, we have a lot of folks in Riverhead who aren't able to afford food delivery, but because of COVID, they're home in quarantine. They can't go out, they don't have any family members who can bring them food, and they can't afford to have food delivered because it's too costly. Would your food pantry be willing to deliver contactless food? Call the family up, ask them who lives there, ask them what they need, and then bring boxes of food and leave it outside their door. We call them and let them know we're there. And when we pull away, the family is able to come out and get the food that they can bring in so that they can quarantine at home for 2 weeks and still have food for them to feed their families with.
that's great. I mean, we're dependent on, the state keeps cutting our budget, unfortunately. And we depend on donations, contributions, whatever it may be, to help fund our programs. I mean, there's a lot of items here that we don't get funding for, and we count on the community to help us with donations. We have an event September 18th called Food Stock. It's at the Bayside Clam Bar in East Islip. It features a Penny Lane, a Beach Boy tribute band, and a James Taylor tribute band. That raises probably around $20,000 to $25,000 a year that goes directly to help our food program. We're having our first golf outing September 20th at the Vineyards. Great event, first one. Hopefully it'll raise a lot of money that we can continue these services. It's critical. And we count on these events. We look for donations. Go to riselifeservices.org, make a donation. You could do it through the Elevation Club. You could do it through the Bequest program, which helps build we're trying to build up an endowment, which is so critical for our future, because as the state continues to cut our budget, we need these funds to really keep everything going. And one important thing too, I ask families who have an individual who has a special need or development to advocate for your child. It's so important, because if you don't speak up, funding will be cut in the future. And really, you need to get out there, work with us. Go to our website. You'll see when we do various events to help support the individuals we serve, and we really count on each of you to help us out there. If you have a piece of property that you'd like to donate, I can show you where you could probably get the same value donating the property as selling it. There's many ways, there's creative ways to get a donation from that, and you're helping an agency and getting the tax write-off. So that's a wonderful thing too. Darryl, is there anything you want to conclude the show with?
Yeah, I know, like I said, 7 years ago, the running joke was we're the best kept secret out in the East End. Like I said, speaking to people in Shirley or even Shoreham, they didn't even know we existed. And again, we were here for before that, 25 years, now going on over 30 years. I think RISE has definitely elevated. We're not that secret any longer. Again, we've connected to a lot of community people, and we're going to continue to connect to people. Again, that's what we do best. But we want to hear other people call us. We want to hear their stories. We want to know how we can help. Again, we are very fortunate to be in this beautiful East End of Long Island. As small as it may be, there are still people that need help. So we have a helpline, 1-855-RISE-LIFE. Give us a call. Let us know what you need. How can we help you? Who can we connect you to? Said we want to be the #1 choice when people need assistance, no matter if it's for a mental illness, developmental disability, if it's food, if it's housing services. Said we want to help everybody.
Now, that helpline sounds like it's going to be a big beneficial to the community, no question.
It is.
JoAnn, where do you like to see us go in the future?
Well, we talked about moving to Huntington. We sent out some emails just to kind of get an idea of whether or not we needed those services in Huntington. And within a half an hour after sending emails out to some of our referring agencies, I had 12 referrals and about 10 phone calls, thanks to Darryl, to return. There's a great need for expanding day program services to individuals because many, many people are choosing self-direction services for their child, which means that they can keep them at home. But once the individual is finished with school, where do they go? And many, as you know, many families on Long Island, both family members work. Living on Long Island is expensive. So what do you do with a person who needs to have some kind of support during the day, but they're out of school now?
Right.
So
That's great. We do have 2 sites, one in Hampton Bays and one in Wainscott, that serves the South Fork. Again, if you can help our agency, we look forward to a possible contribution or donation, whatever you can do. Every dollar counts. I thank you for watching our first show. I look forward to our future shows. And again, thank you, Long Island, for supporting Rise Life Services.
Stronger than ever, never say never.